Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our preview show, in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal fixture to get a grasp of what is going on in the world of Arsenal. And this week, our first midweek fixture of the season, we play at home to Villa. To talk about the game, I'm very happy to be joined by Max Stokes from Villa on Tour. How you doing, mate? You good? You well?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, the Villa could hopefully make me feel a little bit better after Wednesday's game because it hasn't been an ideal start to the season. But no, I'm good, mate. Nice to be on. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. I will address the elephant in the room before we kick off, of course. And thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat box. This is my first live show, of course, since that happened on Friday. So thank you so much, everybody that has tuned in. And thank you so much for all the kind messages that you have sent. I really genuinely do appreciate it. It's very humbling. And I will go into a lot more detail when I don't have to bore Max to sleep about weddings and stuff before his time comes, I'm sure, later on in life, unless I've missed something that happened very early on in his life. But no, I will make sure to address all of that in tomorrow morning's 8 a.m. show. So do make sure you join us for that. Now, this preview show has been made possible by BT Sport, and they will broadcast all 10 Premier League midweek fixtures exclusively from Tuesday the 30th of August all the way through to the Thursday 1st of September, including, of course, Arsenal's game against Aston Villa on Wednesday. And with the BT Sport monthly pass, you can watch huge amounts of football from the Premier League, UEFA Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League, Serie A Liga, and the Vanarama National League for the next 30 days for just £25 with no contract whatsoever. There is a link in the description to sign up, and we'd like to send BT Sport a massive thank you for making this preview happen. So make sure, if you want to watch the game, that you go and watch it via BT Sport. Now, let's crack on with today's preview. Max, Villa haven't got off to the best of starts. I'd love to kind of get your ranty thoughts about it, but I'm actually curious as to why you think that has happened. So give us your best shot at explaining this start to the season.
I don't know, and I don't know if Steven Gerrard knows, and I think that's the problem. I just think if people watch my videos, they've probably heard me say this after all 4 games this season. We just lack identity. We lack a way of playing, and we're easy to beat. And I think that's what's annoying, because when Steven Gerrard first came in, we were hard to beat. We were taking Man City to, they were struggling to us. We went to Anfield and they struggled to beat us, and we were really anyway. But yeah, I just think it's been really disappointing, and I think all the expectations at the start of this season was Europe, 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 and that's all we've been fed as fans, and it's just not happening. I think if you offered me top 10 now, I'd 100% take it, because so far we're really struggling.
Omar in the chat says Gerrard is out of his depth. Is that a fair question? Because, I mean, we were just talking, obviously, and you can watch a preview over on Villa on Tour, which will be coming out very, very soon, the next 24 hours, I imagine, over on Max's channel, in which I kind of give my views on Gerrard. But do you think that is that a fair statement at this point?
I mean, that's word for word what I said after the West Ham game. I think he is out of his depth. I do. I just think he was at Rangers. He did a very, very good job there in terms of when he went into Rangers, the state they were in, and when he left them. He did a great job, but I just think it's a level above, isn't it? It's a different level, and that's exactly what we said, when we were getting linked with him. I just think it's a different kind of pressure at Rangers when it's just you and Celtic going for the league title. So I think at Villa, the expectation is very, very high. He's got his men in. He's had his pre-season where he's got Coutinho, Kamara, Diego Carlos, these big names in. We're spending money. I don't know. I just think there is a lot of pressure on Gerrard now. And for me, this can't go on for too much longer.
How does he change it? I mean, what was it? What are the key kind of standouts for you in that side that make you think, well, that needs to come out, that needs to change, and he needs to sort this out?
I just think he needs to find a way to make it tick. I mean, in that first half against West Ham, they were 100% there for the taking. They really were. And they looked like a side who hadn't scored all season. They looked like a side who hadn't won all season. And we just could not find a way to sort of unlock that. We've got the creative players. I don't like it when people say we need more creativity. We've absolutely got that. We've got Coutinho, we've got Wendy, we've got Ollie Watkins, who scored 14 Premier League goals a couple of years ago. You don't become a bad player overnight. So I think Gerrard just needs to find a way to put these players together and find a way to unlock teams, because we're really struggling. We lack identity. We're over-reliant on the fullbacks when we've got all that creativity. When you look at the heat maps after games, everybody seems to be all over the place and there seems to be no real system. And I think that is the problem. We lack that system.
Yeah, it's an interesting one trying to see and how you kind of piece together, because there's a lot of individuals, in this Villa team. Coutinho and Buendia and Watkins and Ings. And I remember, was it the CEO or the chairman that came out after you sold Grealish to explain the process of why that happened?
Yeah, the
And he,
CEO. Yeah.
yeah, and he kind of talked about that he felt that with Ings and Buendia and Coutinho, you'd made these signings that were basically designed to cover the absence. Was it Coutinho that even came in, or was that January that I think he came in?
No,
It was
it
after
was
that,
it
wasn't
was the three that replaced Jack Grealish were Leon Bailey,
it?
Danny
Bailey, of
Ings, and
course,
Emi
yeah.
Buendia.
Yeah, I mean, Grealish is obviously a big, big loss. And whilst he may not have been able to translate his form for Villa to Manchester City right now, it was obviously a big kind of a loss of goals and creativity. But when you look at those three players, Buendia got in, double digits for assists, was scoring goals for Norwich. Danny Ings, as we know, is a proven Premier League goal scorer. And Leon Bailey was an exciting wide man coming in from Bayer Leverkusen. And you think about what those three in particular can bring to a team, you'd think that would bring more than what even Grealish on his own could bring. But why hasn't it necessarily worked out, do you think?
I don't know, because you've got the tools there, haven't you? You've got the talent. Fair play to the club and the owners. We can't ask more from them. They've gone out, done what they needed to do in terms of obviously replacing £100 million player is going to be massively difficult. But to be fair, on paper, when all of these players came in, Villa fans were happy. There was nobody moaning at the time saying he's not the right man or anything like that. So again, it comes down to the manager, because look at that squad. Everybody talks about Europe and you want to make Villa the team that is the best of the rest outside of that top six. And compare us to the sides you'd like to think on paper Villa would be going up against: West Ham's, Leicester's, Wolves, Newcastle, even Manchester United when they're struggling. Our squad is probably one of the strong, maybe not Manchester United, but our squad is one of the strongest out of those best of the rest teams.
Yeah.
So for me, it's up to the manager now and the coaches to find a way to get the best out of the talent we've got, because I don't think the answer is splashing more money or anything like that. Because yes, we could do with one or two new additions, but I don't think that's the main reason. I think it simply comes down to the management and how he's coaching these players, because there's no doubt these players are talented. It's just how can you get the best out of them?
Indeed. Let's focus a bit more on the game, which, of course, as we've mentioned, you'll be able to watch live on BT Sport on Wednesday evening. Link in the description to get your monthly pass. What do you think about Arsenal this year? They're, from an outside perspective, and you're the first kind of outside perspective we've had come on the channel for one of our previews. Are we finally a kind of threatening, scary prospect now, or is it still, you think, a lot more needs to happen before that kind of reputation is re-established at Arsenal?
No, I've been really impressed with Arsenal. I have. I watched the game at the weekend against Fulham. I know it wasn't one of Arsenal's better performances, but they got over the line. And I think going back to Villa, that's something that we miss. You may not play well, but just find a way to get over the line. And Arsenal did that. I've been very impressed with them. Obviously, I think their recruitment has been brilliant, by the way. Really, really good. Obviously, getting Jesus in, replacing Aubameyang and Lacazette, obviously, have left the club. Really impressive. Even like shrewd signings like Zinchenko, maybe not, glamorous or anything like that, but do the job. And Zinchenko, very, very impressive. I know he probably won't play in this game, but the recruitment, Arteta, I've watched the documentary. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's very, very, very switched on. Seems like he's very good tactically, which is something that Villa lack. But no, definitely very impressed. 4 wins out of 4 says it all, doesn't it?
Arteta obviously came in as a coach that had no experience, and Villa are in a similar, but not obviously the exact same, with Gerrard getting experience at Rangers before he came in. Do you look at Arteta as a coach that could be kind of a threat to teams? Now, that there's kind of, in my view, in terms of kind of the pyramid of coaches, if you like, you've got the elite level of your Contes, your Guardiolas, your Klopps, and I think I put Ancelotti in that list as well. I'm reluctant to add someone like Simeone until we kind of moves on elsewhere, but I know that divides opinion in our chat box. But then you've got kind of a massive cluster of other managers kind of beneath that elite level, which I think I'd put Arteta into. From an unbiased perspective, do you think that from what you've seen in the first 3-ish years of Arteta, that he has the kind of potential to reach that level?
Yeah, definitely. I think what says it all is the progression. I think that is something that we lack as well, and that's something that got Dean Smith sacked. It's that progression year on year. You want to see improvement. You want to see a style of play. You want to see, okay, it might not be happening 100% right now, but you can see the vision and you can see where the club might be going. And I think that's what's happened with Arsenal. You can see what Arteta's trying to do, and that's something that I can't say at Aston Villa. Like if we had an identity, and I can take losing games, but when it's like there's absolutely nothing there, that's when there's cause for concern, because I think Arteta's on the other end of that spectrum in terms of lost the first 3 games of last season. But from then on, they might lose the odd game and it might be disappointing, but you can see what they're trying to do. So give him time. And, proof's in the pudding now, 4 wins out of 4. So I think they'll have a good season. And yes, I agree with you. I'd put Arteta in that sort of second band for sure.
I'll get your thoughts on the celebration police towards the end of the video. So that might be a good way to end the video. Let's go to the lineups. Talk me through. This is, of course, not your prediction, but your desired 11 of what you would like to see. The one I find most interesting is Coutinho's obvious absence. Jacob Ramsey, of course, not in here either. 2 players I like a lot. And you've brought Mings in, of which there was quite a bit of controversy, of course, at the start of the season. And a former Arsenal player in Callum Chambers is there too. So talk me through your desired 11, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Martinez, a shining light. I mean, I still can't believe Arsenal let him go for 20 million or whatever it was. Blows the mind. But we'll go on to the outfield. Yeah, I think Mings, he gets a lot of stick. He's very 50-50 with the Villa fan base. Didn't play against West Ham due to illness. So I'm not sure what that is or whether he'll be back for Arsenal. If he's not back, that worries me, because if you look at the rest of that side, he's the only sort of bit of presence, a bit of height. I think we're very, very short as a team, I think. I mean, I don't know. I think Chambers next to him. He hasn't put a foot wrong for Villa, to be fair, since he's come in. I think was it free signing?
Yes.
Can't complain at all. Cannot complain. Luka Dean and Matty Cash, that's over reliant on them. I've already touched on it. I think they're probably going to be our most important attackers, which says it all. You may also notice that the formation is very, very narrow, which Steven Gerrard likes as well. No Leon Bailey in the starting 11 because we can't fit him in. We were linked with Ismaila Sarr last weekend, which fell through, which I don't really understand, because this is Steven Gerrard's preferred formation, whether he was going to get Sarr in and change the formation and go for wingers and play Bailey and Sarr. But if you're trying to change the formation and the system that you've worked with all pre-season, 3 games into a new season, worries me a little bit. Kamara, as a defensive midfielder, is absolutely the shining light this season. He's an absolutely unbelievable footballer. He must have walked into Villa this season and thought, what have I walked into here? Do you know what I mean? Like he was linked with Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, talked about Arsenal as well. John McGinn, new captain. He's struggled for a long time now. I'm not totally convinced he's captain material. You said no Ramsey in there. I thought Luiz is better on the ball. Ramsey he burst onto the scene, obviously scored at the Emirates last season, but yeah, he's been disappointing so far this season. You touched on Coutinho as well. I would drop him. I think he's been disappointing. Buendia, whenever he's come in, probably not against West Ham, but game against Everton, for example, he's absolutely changed the game, especially away from home. I just think with that little bit more space, he could thrive. Watkins and Ings up the top speaks for itself. I'd probably go 2 up top. So yeah, that's my team. I don't think that's what Gerrard would do, but that's my preferred team.
Just sticking with Kamara, of course, you've picked him as your predicted 5-star performer. His versatility has obviously been a big part of his kind of attraction. Can play at centre back, can play in that midfield. How has he kind of fit in? You alluded to him impressing a lot. Has he really been that kind of cut above the rest so far this season?
Yeah, he has. He definitely has. And I think that's been in a struggling Villa side as well. So it makes you think, what could he do in a slightly better Villa side, a better performing Villa side? Because even in a poor one, he's been very impressive. I think, especially against Bournemouth, he was left very alone in that midfield. And I think that's where he struggled, because, like I touched on, Dean and Cash go so far forward. And Gerrard likes, in that formation, Luiz and McGinn to cover at fullback, which obviously leaves Kamara absolutely open in that midfield. And he's doing his best, but he needs more support. And that's why I think Villa are crying out for another number 8. I just think McGinn, like I touched on, has struggled for quite a long time now. Just someone who can support him, who's got legs, but also technical ability, a bit of everything, a bit of height as well, like I touched on. Mings is that only bit of height. So, yeah, 100% Kamara is head and shoulders above any other performances this season.
Just to tackle my desired 11, it's really difficult, because I know a lot of people will naturally want to throw Smith Rowe or Vieira or Lokonga, potentially, someone else to kind of switch things up, because we have played a lot of games. But it's so difficult when the team is winning so many games as is. And we've already been forced into a couple of changes, of course, with Partey and Zinchenko. Now, the latest on them that we understand is that Arteta wasn't particularly optimistic about their inclusion for the game. he also said on Friday before the training session that there was no injury problem. So we know that things can change exceptionally quickly, and maybe one of those two will be available. But he wasn't too optimistic about the potential for either of those two to turn. I don't particularly know why I've got Tomiyasu in here twice. I think it's because I've not put White back on the bench. That fixes that very quickly. But in terms of Tomiyasu coming in, he's, for me, the most natural rotational player with White to kind of give White a bit of a rest in that sense. Ramsdale, of course, doesn't change. Saliba and Gabriel, I don't think need to change because of any kind of excessive running. Tierney, as we know, will come in for Zinchenko, and I've actually named Tierney as my 5-star performer. He didn't particularly flourish against Fulham, and I think he did struggle a little bit. I think that's more to do with the fact that he's not had enough minutes so far this season with Zinchenko coming in. But he did get, a full game under his belt. Besides, obviously, he'll substitute in the second half, but he did get kind of a full start under his belt. And what you talked about with Gerrard kind of wanting to play narrow, Arsenal love using the wide channels, and if that is kind of be something that Gerrard wants to do and leaves kind of Cash and Digne, exposed individually, Saka and Tomiyasu and Martinelli and Tierney will double up. Xhaka will get involved as well on that left-hand side because he's dovetailed with Zinchenko so well so far this season, and Jesus just runs everywhere. So, you never know where he's going to pop up. So I feel as though it could be an interesting game for Tierney to kind of have one of his better performances and utilise that potential weakness in the Villa wide areas. But other than that, I don't think much changes. I would like to see Saka as well have a go at Luca Dean on our right-hand side, Villa's left. He's had a quiet start to the season. He had a better game, I thought, against Fulham, but still hasn't scored, and I think he needs to get that goal. So I'm hopefully going to back him to do that. Just before we go to predictions, seeing that 11, kind of where do you kind of see the main threats? Jesus obviously being the obvious one, but is there any kind of, and do you agree about the wide potential usage of that kind of exploit possibly?
I mean, you saying that fills me with absolute fear. It really does. I think the way that Luka Dean and Cash get so far forward, it just worries me, because if we get caught on the counter, which could easily happen, we could get absolutely done down the wings. But I think I watched that Fulham game. I thought Martin Odegaard was absolutely sensational, absolutely ran things. That's the sort of player we want Coutinho to be. That's what we want Arbuendia to be. And they're just not on that level, unfortunately. But yeah, Odegaard, brilliant at the weekend. Like you touched on, Jesus is the obvious option. He can cause us problems. He has done in the past for Manchester City. But Martinelli, big fan of him. Saka as well. Just those wide areas do worry me a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be an intriguing game, that's for sure. Let's go to predictions. Chat box, is time to get yours in the chat, and we'll read through plenty of those. But Max, give us a scoreline, your thoughts, and a scorer as well, please.
It's tough. I want to be positive. I really do, and I think it would be typical Villa to probably go there and win, and it would be typical Arsenal to go 4 out of 4 and then lose at home to a poor Villa side. But I can't see it, unfortunately. I'll go 3-1 Arsenal. Probably Saka to score, Odegaard because he's been on fire, and Jesus, of course. And then for Villa, who knows? Probably Ollie Watkins. I think he scored against Crystal Palace. He's done as much as he can. He runs and runs and runs. So yeah, I'll go Ollie Watkins, but 3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins got a good record of scoring against Arsenal as well, of course, at the
Arsenal
Emirates.
Arsenal fan.
He is indeed. He's not quiet about, he's not trying to hide that in any way, shape, or form. To be fair, maybe it's a bit of a call out potentially, but I don't think Arsenal are going to be in the striker market anytime soon at the moment. Daz in the chat going for a 4-0 Arsenal. Clockwork Tangerine going for a 4-0 as well. Omar says 3-0. I'm sorry, Max, this must be painful.
I don't want to see this. Is there any Villa fans in the chat?
Anthony going for a 4-1. Tebow going for a 2-1. Harvey going for a 2-1. Irish going for a 3-0. I mean, what I notice about, and just clicking up some of these more, I don't have to read them out, otherwise he's going to be twisting the knife on Max here. But, it's just the positivity that's surrounding Arsenal at the moment that is kind of so refreshing, that exponential and snowball effect that these wins can have. And I think one of the things that Arsenal have been criticised for, Max, is the over-celebration. Now, from the outside perspective, we've seen, I think Graham Souness talked about this on TalkSport. I think that it was Andy Gray and Richard Keys, of course, that also mentioned this. What do you make of kind of this stigma around over-celebrating? And is it a thing that, needs to be curbed, or is it just a thing that is being built up around specific clubs?
I think it's bizarre. I really do. I don't understand it, and I don't know why people get offended by celebrations. I think Arsenal have struggled in the last couple of years in terms of their standards. So let them be happy. Why can't just let people be happy? And fair play. I love it. Imagine being a footballer and seeing that. You'd absolutely love it, and it'll give you that motivation in the next game, wouldn't it? So I'm all for it. I mean, I'd like it to be on the other side on Wednesday night, and I'd like us to be going mentally in the away end. But mate, I don't understand it. I mean, fair play. Celebrate all you like. I'm all for it.
Goku dropping in 1-0 Villa, Martinez scorpion kick from a corner.
Hey.
Quite the turn up for the books in terms of that. There's a couple of donations from FTL Gooner Craig, of course, our donator of our brilliant FTL scarf behind me. TC, congrats, my friend. I'm confident for Wednesday. Villa look poor, so going for a 3-0 prediction. Thank you for that, Craig. And Joe Battle here going for a sorry we couldn't send you a wedding gift like an air fryer or a toaster, of which I have already received one of each. So you're not doubling up, Joe. Don't you worry, my friend. This should help you get started. Thanks, Joe. Really appreciate the kind words and donation as well. And also in the chat box, Sam joining up as a member. Thank you for the continued support, everybody on the channel. This preview was, of course, brought to you by BT Sport. You'll be able to watch Arsenal's game against Villa by going to the monthly pass link in the description. Just £25 for the next 30 days. It doesn't just cover, obviously, the Premier League, but plenty of others as well. More information if you do click that link in the description. Max, thank you so much for your time, my friend. I really appreciate it. It's been a genuine pleasure chatting to you and meeting you for the first time. And I hope the Villa turn things around. I hope it doesn't start on Wednesday night, but for your sake, I hope it does get better.
Nice one. Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Tell people they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, Villa on tour on YouTube. I'm sort of into the match day vlog sort of thing. So I think Arsenal fans would like to tune into Wednesday's one. I don't want to be too negative. Hopefully it's a Villa win. But yeah, match day vlogs, all that sort of thing on Twitter and Instagram as well, at Villa on tour _. So check it out.
Lovely stuff. You can, of course, find us back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for our latest transfer update as the window does come to a close. News surrounding Neto and Mudryk and more interesting wide players that could be arriving at the Emirates before the close of this transfer window that has really kind of quietened down for Arsenal. Potentially, we could see some more signs for Villa. I'm sure that Max would appreciate that, but maybe not. For the look on his face, we'll have to wait and see. We will see you again very soon. Do drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. I'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.